Are they really better than the Eargo 6s? Let's find out. Hi guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona. And in this video, we're doing a detailed review of the new Eargo 7 over-the-counter hearing aids. Coming up. It's a new year, and that means that there's a new model of Eargo hearing aids. True to form, Eargo is sticking with their new naming system by identifying which generation they're on by giving them a number. We're on the 7th generation of Eargo hearing aids, therefore we are now onto the Eargo 7s. Also true to form, Eargo is the only hearing aid manufacturer, over-the-counter or prescription, that gives you an invisible in-the-canal hearing aid that is also rechargeable. However, the Eargo 7s are the first model to be an official over-the-counter hearing aid since the over-the-counter hearing aid guidelines got finalized back in October of 2022. So with this new OTC designation, how different are the Eargo 7s from the Eargo 6s? Well, that is exactly what we are going to find out in this review video. But before I do, if you could do me a huge favor and click the like button, it really helps out my channel because it gets these videos in front of a broader audience and it encourages me to make more review videos just like this one. And while you're at it, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button with notification bell, go ahead and do that as well because that ensures that you never miss one of my newly released videos, and I release a ton of new videos every single week. That being said, I really appreciate it. Now let's get into some of the disclaimers for this video. Disclaimer number 1, the Eargo 7 over-the-counter hearing aids are in fact over-the-counter hearing aids, which means that they are intended for adults with a perceived mild to moderate hearing loss. So if you have a hearing loss that is more significant than mild to moderate, these hearing aids will not work for you. Disclaimer number 2, even if you do have a perceived mild to moderate hearing loss, your performance with the Eargo 7 over-the-counter hearing aids will depend on how well you can fit and program them to your hearing loss prescription, either by yourself or with the help of a hearing care professional. Disclaimer number 3, if you have any of the following red flags, you need to immediately consult with an audiologist or a physician that specializes in the ears because it could be a sign of a serious medical condition. These red flags include visible congenital or traumatic deformity of the ears, history of active drainage from either ear within the previous 90 days, visible evidence of significant earwax accumulation or foreign body in the ear canal, pain or discomfort in the ear, acute or chronic dizziness, history of sudden or rapidly progressive hearing loss within the previous 90 days, or unilateral hearing loss of sudden or recent onset within the previous 90 days as well. Disclaimer number 4, if you try the Eargo 7 over-the-counter hearing aids and you do not have success with them, it does not mean that hearing aids would not work for you. You just likely need a prescription hearing aid fit by a hearing care professional who follows best practices. To easily find a hearing care professional in your area who follows comprehensive best practices, go to my website, hearingup.com, and search for a Hearing Up Network member near you so you can experience the difference that exceptional hearing care makes. And disclaimer number 5, none of the review videos on my channel are ever sponsored, but I will have an affiliate link of these devices in the description of this video. So if you do decide to check them out yourself, please use the link because that helps to support the channel so I can make more videos just like this one. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the actual review. The Eargo 7s have a retail price of $2,950 with financing options that have payments below $90 per month. They also offer a variety of different discounts, including 20% off for veterans and military, and a 10% off discount for healthcare, first responders, and teachers. You can tell that Eargo is really trying to stay below this $3,000 price point, and even so, their devices are still the most expensive over-the-counter hearing aids currently available on the market. In fact, even their several-year-old Neo Hi-Fi hearing aids, which retail for $1,650, are more expensive than any other OTC hearing aid on the market. But like I said, Eargo is positioned as the only over-the-counter hearing aid that is an invisible in-the-canal and rechargeable device, which kind of puts them in a category of their own. Fortunately, at this price, they do come with a 2-year warranty, which means that if anything happens to your Eargo 7 devices, Eargo will replace them for you. As far as what the Eargo 7 hearing aids look like, they are nearly identical to the Eargo 6s. In fact, the only thing that you'll visibly see different with the Eargo 7s is that they actually have Eargo 7 written on them. This includes their open and closed pedals in both small and large sizes that suspend the devices inside of your ear canals. which is another feature that is completely unique to Eargo. These pedals are also interchangeable by popping off the old pedal and snapping on a new pedal. Now, I will be conducting some objective measurements between the open pedals and the closed pedals to see how they affect the performance of the Eargo 7 devices, but comfort-wise, both of these pedals are very comfortable inside of my ears. The microphone covers on the back of the Eargo 7s are the same as the Eargo 6s as well, and are interchangeable just in case earwax plugs up the openings. You can purchase extra domes and microphone covers on Eargo's website as well, although they are a little pricey, and keep in mind the pre-Eargo 5 Flexi Palms and Flexi Fibers are not compatible with the Eargo 5, 6, and 7 models. As far as what these look like inside of my ears, I'm going to go ahead and put them in for you. They do have a removal string on them, so once you tuck them up inside your ear canal, you can grab them and get them out fairly easily. But that's what it looks like inside of my left ear. You should just notice like a black hole. That's why they make these devices black. It's very smart of them. In this ear, you pretty much cannot see it. It basically means that they are completely invisible. Now, every once in a while when you're putting them into your ears or you go up and you scratch your ear, it ends up changing the programs. I just heard it change to restaurant when I wasn't trying to change it to restaurant, but it is much more reliable to change the program settings and the volume settings using your smartphone app. The Eargo app is compatible with Android and Apple devices. From a battery life standpoint, because these are rechargeable, you get 16 hours of battery life on a single charge. And the charger case uses inductive charging, which is really nice, uses a USB-C connection on the bottom, and it has a power bank inside of it. So you can actually store extra charges inside of that charger case, even though you do not have it plugged in, so it's easy to take on the go. The Eargo 7s are still IPX7 rated, just like the Eargo 6s were, which technically means you can dunk them in a meter of water for 30 minutes, pull them out of that water, and they will still be functional. Now, I actually tested this myself by dunking them in a glass of water for 30 minutes, and when I pulled them back out of the water, they were still working. Like I mentioned before, the Eargo 7 over-the-counter hearing aids do have a smartphone app that allows you to change different program settings as well as the volume settings, but they are not Bluetooth compatible, meaning you cannot stream audio directly from your phone into your hearing aids. The app actually communicates with your Eargo 7 hearing aids by emitting a high-frequency chirping sound from the phone itself. While this feature is nice to have, every once in a while when you make an adjustment and you hold it directly in front of you, it only triggers one of the hearing aids, then you have to hit that adjustment again and hold it over next to the other ear. Right off the bat, you can see that there is a menu in the top left corner of the app that lets you do the sound match hearing test, look up information about your Eargo 7 charger and devices, log into your Eargo account, check the settings that includes your notifications and reminders, access help that includes tutorial videos and contacting Eargo support, and your charger battery level. Back in the main screen, you have a volume tab that allows you to mute your Eargo 7s and increase or decrease overall volume with one or both of your devices at the same time. Under the Noise tab, you have different noise filter levels and the new Sound Adjust Plus feature that is exclusive to the Eargo 7s. This allows you to either manually prioritize your device settings in a noisy environment or allow the software of the Eargo devices to do this automatically for you. You can select and modify up to 4 different program settings, including normal, restaurant, music, phone, TV, and meeting. Or you can use the 4 preset programs that are all different volume levels. Inside of each of the programs you select, you can select which sound match hearing test you want to use initially to program your Eargo 7s, and select whether you want the Sound Adjust Plus feature to be active in that program. You can also adjust the sound tuning in each of these programs, allowing you to increase or decrease volume, treble, and bass in one device or both devices, and save these changes for future use. How well do each of these features work? Well, that is something that we can actually objectively test using real ear measurement. Now, if you do not know what real ear measurement is, I highly recommend that you check out my video that I will link in the description. As usual, I'm going to be testing these Eargo 7s on my assistant Bree, who has a flat, mild to moderate sensorineural hearing loss, to see how well these devices come to matching her NAL/NL2 hearing loss prescription, and so I can measure how well these new background noise features work. But before I can could get started with these measurements, I needed to have Bree take the sound match hearing test inside of the app. This will test your hearing at 500 Hz, 1000 Hz, 2000 Hz, 3000 Hz, and 4000 Hz by emitting those high-frequency chirps from your phone, prompting pure tone signals from the Eargo 7 devices at each of these frequencies inside of your ears. It actually tells you the decibel level that it is testing you at, and you have to indicate whether or not you heard the sound. It even gives you your final results inside of the app when you're done. If we compare the thresholds obtained in the Eargo app with her thresholds obtained on her professional audiogram, you can see that 500, 1000, and 4000 Hz were very similar, but 2000 and 3000 Hz were a bit off, underestimating her hearing loss in these ranges. Now that we have this information, we can perform real ear measurement to see how well the Eargo 7 over-the-counter hearing aids are capable of meeting her hearing loss prescription. To perform real ear measurement, we place probe microphone tubes to measure sound inside of Bree's ear canals as we play calibrated speech signals from a speaker in front of her. We always start by measuring the ear canal resonance indicated by the solid pink curve, which is the natural amplification effect that Bree receives from her ear canal without any hearing aids in her ears. The pink hash mark curve is Bree's NAL/NL2 prescription for her mild to moderate sensorineural hearing loss. Ideally, we would want the solid pink curve to overlap with the pink hash mark curve, which would indicate that she is receiving enough sound to overcome her hearing loss. As you can see, her ear canal resonance is not enough to overcome her hearing loss on its own. Hence, the reason why she needs hearing aids. Next, we place the Eargo 7s into her ears so we could measure the amplification inside of her ear canals. Keep in mind, the hash mark line will continue to change colors with these different measures, but the goal of matching the hash mark lines with the solid lines remains the same. Our first test with the Eargo 7s is to see if there is insertion loss, which is a reduction effect due to having physical devices blocking the ear canal. Initially, we are testing this with the closed pedal. If the solid turquoise curve is below the solid pink curve, we know that we are getting a blocking effect of sound, which is primarily above 2000 Hz. Next, I wanted to see if there was less insertion loss using an open pedal like we would expect. This is due to an open pedal having less of a blocking effect inside of the ear canal in theory. But what we found is that the pink curve and the turquoise curve are virtually identical, indicating that there is no real-world acoustic differences between the open and the closed pedals. Despite measuring some insertion loss above 2000 Hz, neither myself or Bree, for that matter, noticed any occlusion effect, which is that annoying sound that you typically get when you have an in-ear device plugging up your ears and then the sound of your own voice is really boomy and loud to yourself. Now, this is a really good thing because the occlusion effect is very annoying. However, this also means that you cannot control the acoustics in any way, shape, or form by switching from the open pedals to the closed pedals, which is unfortunate because sometimes this is a necessary thing that you would want to be able to do. Next, I wanted to measure the first fit settings of the Eargo devices for average speech levels, indicated by the solid red curve, to see how close they come to matching Bree's hearing loss prescription targets, which are indicated by the red hash mark curve. Honestly, I was very impressed with these initial first fit settings that were based on the sound match hearing test results. Anywhere you see the solid red curve above the solid pink curve is amplification that she is receiving from the Eargo 7 over-the-counter hearing aids in relation to her natural ear canal resonance. Next, I wanted to see if I could optimize these settings even further using the volume, treble, and bass adjustments inside of the app. While there are not that many adjustments that I'm able to make within the app, it still took me a long time to customize the programming, and the solid green curve is as close as I could get her to her hashmark prescriptive targets. While it wasn't perfect, it is definitely respectable for an over-the-counter hearing aid, and in my opinion, it is better than what I measured on Bree with her previous Eargo 6 hearing aids, which is indicated by the solid purple curve. I've got to say, both myself and Bree were pleasantly surprised with how close we could get the Eargo 7s to her hearing loss prescriptive targets, and very happy to see that we could improve upon what we were able to achieve with the Eargo 6s. But we didn't stop there. We also wanted to see what differences we saw with the restaurant program as well as the music program. The new turquoise curve indicates the restaurant program, which appears to reduce some of the low to mid frequencies and give more amplification to the high frequencies, which does make sense if you are trying to understand speech and background noise. The new green curve indicates the music program, which appeared to increase amplification in the high frequencies of one ear, but decrease some amplification in the mid frequencies of the other ear, ultimately not giving me a really comfortable feel for what Eargo is trying to do with the music program. Next, I wanted to measure the all-new Sound Adjust Plus feature, which is unique to the Eargo 7s for loud environments, to see if I could identify what they're actually doing. Now, you can set this feature to automatic, but for the purpose of this testing, I wanted to manually adjust between both of them. The emphasized speech setting indicated by the solid turquoise curve did not appear to change the amplification settings very much compared to the standard settings indicated by the solid red curve. In fact, neither did the reduced noise for comfort setting indicated by the solid green curve. Now, I'm not saying that the Sound Adjust Plus settings don't do anything. I'm just saying that I wasn't able to actually identify exactly what they were doing. Next, I wanted to measure the compression settings of the Eargo 7 over-the-counter hearing aids. Now, if you're not familiar with what compression is, it's basically adding more amplification to soft level sounds and reducing amplification given to loud level sounds so all sounds can fit nicely into your audible range. First, I started with a soft level sound indicated by the solid turquoise curve. What this indicates is that we are not getting enough amplification to make soft level speech fully audible because we are below the soft speech prescriptive targets indicated by the turquoise hash mark curve. Second, I measured loud level speech, which we indicated with the green curves, and identified that we are over-amplifying loud sounds between 2,000 and 3,000 hertz in one ear and between 2,000 and 4,000 hertz in the other ear. Ideally, we would like to see each of these solid curves overlapping with each of these hash mark curves as closely as possible. The average and loud curves are respectable, but the soft level turquoise curve is unacceptable. When it comes to compression, I was a little bit disappointed in the Eargo 7s because we're basically not able to amplify soft level speech enough without over-amplifying average and loud level speech sounds. If you have a mild to moderate hearing loss, chances are you're struggling with two things. Number one is struggling to understand speech and background noise, and number two is being able to understand soft level speech. And if you don't get enough soft level compression, then you are not going to be able to hear soft-spoken individuals. The last thing I wanted to measure was the noise reduction capabilities of the Eargo 7s, since according to Eargo, the noise reduction capabilities are a significant improvement compared to the Eargo 6s. First, I started with the filter level set to off. Despite this, we were still able to measure 9 decibels of noise reduction, which is pretty significant compared to other over-the-counter hearing aids. This did take approximately 10 seconds before it kicked in. The medium filter level only took about 5 seconds to start kicking in, and eventually gave us between 13 and 16 decibels of noise reduction, which is a nice increase. The high-level filter also only took about 5 seconds to kick in and eventually gave us between 13 and 17 decibels of noise reduction, which was very similar to the medium filter setting. Compared to the previous generation Eargo 6s, the Eargo 7s were able to give us an additional 3 to 6 decibels of noise reduction in the medium and high filter settings, which is a nice improvement. It is important to note that noise reduction does not improve intelligibility in a noisy situation. It does make the noise more tolerable to be in, though. Nevertheless, more noise reduction is always a nice feature to have. Now that we got all of those objective measurements out of the way, what do I feel about the Eargo 7s subjectively? Well, I happen to think that they are just as good and maybe slightly better than the Eargo 6s, but it is not an earth-shattering amount. To be fair, we do see some of the same moderate technological improvements with prescription hearing aids from generation to generation. And those prescription hearing aids tend to upgrade every 18 to 24 months, and this is only a 13-month technology cycle for Eargo. The Eargo 7s do still have the same feedback issues that we saw with the Eargo 6s. You have to be very careful about putting your hands up by your ears depending on what levels you set your devices at, because it will cause feedback to occur. In fact, we had to mute these hearing aids every single time we pulled them out of Bree's ears because every time we went to grab them, they were whistling uncontrollably. I will say that when I wore the Eargo 7s in background noise, it did accentuate speech above the background background noise better than not wearing them at all, but I have to say that when I put in the Eargo 6s, I felt like it was an equivalent amount. Bree did mention that when we had these set at her full prescription, she said that they felt artificial and tinny compared to her prescription hearing aids that she would wear at her full prescription. Part of this could be explained that she was not fully adapted to these hearing devices, since it typically takes you around 30 days to fully adjust to new hearing technology. Or perhaps they were just really tinny and unnatural. The in-ear indicators are really nice because you can hear exactly which program that you're in, because it tells you, and it tells you when you are capped off in volume, which is a really nice feature to have, although it is very loud when it plays it inside of your ears. Overall though, the Eargo 7s are an extremely unique over-the-counter hearing aid, and if you have $2,500 to $3,000 to spend on an over-the-counter hearing aid, I would definitely recommend that you give the Eargo 7s a try, especially because they do come with a 45-day return window. Another great thing about Eargo is that they do have support staff on hand and available for you whenever you're having any issues. In fact, you can actually set up a call with them inside of the app and have a virtual meeting with them to help you get started with your hearing treatment as well. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have someone who's there and willing to help you if you're having issues with your devices. If you feel like you might have a mild to moderate hearing loss because you're having difficulty understanding speech and background noise, or because you're having difficulty understanding soft talkers, but you're on the fence about actually treating your hearing loss, then the Eargo 7s might be the perfect place to start. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please share it. If you want to see other videos just like this one, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, feel free to check out all of my other over-the-counter hearing aid reviews on my website, hearingup.com.